I take a moment when I'm saying that. It's a little hot in this kitchen. It's one of the things about it. It's a little hot in here. And I get to do something that I love to do. It's still hot in here. Hi guys, it's me, Martin Salama, the architect of the Warriors Life Code. I'm here again cooking in my kitchen because I heard that you really liked what I did. You had some fun with it. So I figured I'd do it again. So today I'm going to make what's called Spanech Jiben. I let this get a little too hot, but that's okay. It's all working out fine. It'll all do good. Now what I'm doing is I'm putting in some butter and oil, about 2 tablespoons of butter and just like a tablespoon of oil into this skillet. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to saute some onions. What I'm making, I forgot to tell you, I think, is called Spanech Jiben, which is Arabic for spinach cheese. So it's kind of like a quiche without a crust, spinach quiche without a crust. So it has eggs and minced cheese and ricotta cheese and spinach, of course, and onions. So now I'm going to let the onions sweat and cook for a little bit as we're talking. And I've already taken the spinach, which is about 2 boxes, 10-ounce boxes, 2 10-ounce boxes of chopped spinach that I defrosted and I drained. And I'm going to put it into the pot here in a minute. Let these guys get ready to go. But in the meantime, I can move this out of the way. And I'm going to put in 6 eggs. I'm going to scramble them up. All right, 1, 2, I should have done this before. All right. 3, got a little bit of a shell there. 4, 5, 6. Okay, so what do I want to talk about today? So what I want to talk about today is somebody asked me recently, what's my morning routine? What do I do when I get up in the morning? What are the things that I do? So I thought it was a very interesting question. And before I answer, so what I do now, let me tell you a little bit. I pray in the morning. I pray to God. As you probably know by now, I'm cooking for Saturday, actually, for Saturday lunch. And as you probably remember, I'm an Orthodox Jew, modern Orthodox. And so praying is a big thing in our religion. In the morning, we put on tefillin, which is this black strap that you wrap around your arm. There's a box here and the box here, and you wrap it around your arm and your hand, and you pray to God. So that's something I've been doing for a while, and there was a while there for about 10 or 15 years that I wasn't praying. I wasn't going to shul in the morning. I wasn't praying at home. I wasn't putting on my tefillin. And then as things started to change in my life, I decided, you know what, I need to figure out what's going on, and I need to start praying. So I started to pray. And I'm looking for this guy. And what I did was I started putting on my tefillin every morning, going to synagogue, and when I can't go to synagogue, I pray at home. And one of the things that I found is that it was very cathartic for me to do that. And one of the things that was coming out of it was I was learning more and more about the prayers and about what I was saying and so on. And one of the things that happens is when I'm praying in the morning and I'm putting on my tefillin, I say these words as I put on the tefillin around one of my fingers. I wrap it around my finger to make a shin, which is a Hebrew letter. And the shin, I'm not exactly sure why. Shaddai, there is a reason. I don't know it, but to be honest. But I say something, and in Hebrew it's Ve'eristikli le'olam, Ve'eristikli b'tzedek, v'ub misbah, v'ub chesed, v'ub rachamim, Ve'eristikli be'emunah, be'emunah, Hashem. So I decided to look it up and read it in English to you. So it's, I betrothed you to me forever. This is God speaking to me. And it comes from one of the prophets, Hosea, and he I don't know the full context, but he's one of the prophets, and I betrothed you to me forever. I be'eristikli le'olam. I be'eristikli b'sedek v'ub misbah v'ub chesed v'ub rachamim. I betrothed you to me with righteousness and justice, with love and compassion. And then it's be'eristikli be'emunah ve'adat et Adonai. I betrothed you to me with faithfulness, then shall you be at one with Adonai, which is God. So I found it very interesting that when I started to do that more. Okay, by the way, I mix now the spinach that I thawed into the sautéed onions, and I let it cook for a few minutes. But back to what I was saying, when I do that, I find myself my closest with God. And so I take a moment when I'm saying that. It's a little hot in this kitchen. One of the things about it, it's a little hot in here. One of the things that I find myself doing is at that moment, when I'm wrapping it around my finger, I find myself getting closer to God every day. So that's one of the things I do every morning. The next thing I do is I write in my journal every single day at least 3 things of gratitude. Today I wrote, thank God that Sarita has off from work and we could spend the day together. Thank God that I had a good night's sleep. I'm trying to remember what the third thing I said. Thank God that I get to go on Sunday with my grandson Max to the football game. He's going to first time going to a football game. I'm going to take him to the game. I'm going to take him to the tailgating before. We're going to have a blast. All right, and then I go and I say to myself my mantra, which is I live incredibly full every day. So the person I was on the phone with said, wow, that's great. And what does that do? I said, it sets me up for the day. It sets me up for knowing that whatever I'm going to do today, I'm ready for whatever comes my way. Okay, so now I have the eggs, and I'm going to take the minced cheese. I'm very good. I already measured this out. This is 12 ounces of shredded minced cheese. Okay, and then also I'm going to put in, I like ricotta cheese. Some people use other types of sausages. I like ricotta cheese. I'm going to put in 9 ounces of ricotta cheese in here as well. Now, I got to say, I've played with this recipe for a while. It was also in the Aromas of Aleppo cookbook that I talked about in another video. And I decided to change it up and find out the exact quantities that I like that gave me the right consistency of cheese, egg, spinach, and all that. And this is what I came up with. 12 ounces, 6 eggs, 12 ounces of minced cheese, and about 9 ounces of ricotta cheese. Okay, so then I take all this and I mix it up like this and get it all incorporated. So what that does when I say these things, I'm setting my day up for success. Why? Because I'm not getting up and saying, ugh, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, I've got to do some other things. I'm getting up and I'm saying, I get to pray to God and thank Him for all the wonderful things I have in my life. I get to thank people that I love in my life. I get to thank God. I get to do things like with my children, with my grandchildren, with my wife, with whoever, and love it and have fun doing it. And then I get to go and coach people and enjoy doing that process. And I get to do something that I love to do. It's still hot in here, but it is what it is. And it's the middle of November, just so you know. And we're having crazy good weather here in Brooklyn, New York. So I forgot to put a little salt in it. I add a little salt, not a ton. Well, to me, that's not a ton. And I mix that up. And then after this is all mixed together, I add the spinach and onion mixture into the same bowl. Get it all in there. All right. And I incorporate them all together. Okay. Then on the side for a second. And in the background, I have some Crosby, Stills and Nash playing. I actually have a Spotify playlist called Morning Music. It's morning music. It gets me going. It gets me happy in the morning, positive. And I didn't always used to be like this. I really didn't. I would be one of those guys who was Mr. Doom and Gloom. Oh, the world is terrible, blah, blah, blah. But you know what? The world is what you make of it. And if you make of it that it's a great place, then you will find great things and you will find great opportunities. I was on a call with somebody yesterday, a Zoom call, and I said something that made them laugh. They were hysterical laughing. And I said, thank you. And she's like, why'd you say thank you? I said, because you just helped me fill my quota for the day of making somebody happy or making somebody laugh. And she looked at me, she goes, wow, that's so interesting. I said, yeah, every day I try to make somebody laugh or happy. And I got for allowing me to be part of your life, even in the smallest way. And then I go on with my day. So why am I telling you all this? Because if you set yourself up for success, you will be successful. If you set yourself up for failure, you will be failing. And it's not the way you want to live your life. You want to live your life full of love, full of happiness. So somebody says to me, well, what happens when stuff happens? Bad things. I look at what's going on. The old me, I gotta tell you, the old me would go into freak out mode almost all the time. I would start wondering, oh my God, what's gonna happen? And it didn't serve me. And I was somebody who overreacted to everything because I took things personally. And when you take things personally and you become a control freak and you're a people pleaser, you realize, number one, you don't please anybody. But because you're a people pleaser, you're a control freak and you take things personally. And I had a short temper because anything that was happening, I wasn't responding, I was reacting. And I was going off on people. And many of the times I would go back and apologize to them. But I would be like, I'm sorry that happened, but that's not a real apology. That's you justifying what you did in your mind and telling that other person, tough luck. That's not the way it is. And it took me a very, very long time to get over that. So now what I'm going to do, by the way, is that I'm going to grease the pan. It's not a pan, it's a 9x13 Pyrex that I'm going to use. And I'm going to grease it with some Pam. Why? Because the Pam makes it not stick to the bottom when I take it out later. It cuts so much easily with no problems. And so I just take it, open it up, and spray it around. Like that. Okay? And then put it to the side. And now I'm going to take the spinach, egg, cheese, and ricotta cheese mix and onions and put it into the bowl, into the 9x13 baking dish. I'll get the words right one day. One of the things, it's a Salamaism. We forget things all the time. My sisters and I all the time forget about it. As a matter of fact, there's a funny story in my family. My sister walked into the house to visit my mother, and my sisters were there, and there was coffee. And my sister turned to another one of my sisters and said, ooh, coffee. Is it diet? And she said, yeah, it is. And some of the nieces were there, and they looked and they said, did you just say, is the coffee diet? She goes, she knows what I mean. Is it decaffeinated? So I do that all the time. I use the wrong words or I forget the words, but who cares? So Rita laughs at me because now when I'm forgetting something, she just looks at me and won't fill it in. I'll say, whatchamacallit? She goes, whatchamacallit? What's whatchamacallit? So we have some fun with each other. But it's all in the fun. It's all enjoying what's going on. And by the way, I'm also making Friday night dinner because today's Friday, so I'm cooking for tonight and tomorrow. And let me see if I can pick that up. I'll show you really what it is real quick. So maybe I'll do this on another episode, now that I'm doing food episodes. This is called kibbeh artichokes. Kibbeh is a little meatball that we make in the Syrian community, the Sephardic community. And so there's artichokes in there, artichoke hearts, bottoms. And there's something called oot. And oot is basically tamarind seed, concentrated tamarind. It's like a juice. It's very tangy. It's great and sweet-ish, and also lemon. And my family loves it, so I cook it up that as well. And that's it. And right now it just has the artichokes and the sauce and the water and the garlic and all that stuff cooking. And a little later I'll put the kibbeh balls, which are little tiny meatballs. I'll show them to you in the package. Here they are. These are the kibbeh balls. Little tiny meatballs. So they're not fully meat. Outside is the chopped meat, and inside is a chopped meat with the rice mixture all together. So that's something else I do. So anyway, so now this I'm going to cook just for about 10, 15, 20 minutes today. And then tomorrow, while the oven is on for Shabbat, this is lunch tomorrow, for part of lunch tomorrow, I'll let it finish cooking tomorrow because I don't, on Shabbat, on Saturday, you're not allowed to cook from scratch. So you start it from Friday, and then on Saturday, you finish it off. Anyway, I hope you found what I talked about interesting. Please comment below. Tell me what you're thinking. Go to my site, thewarriorslifecode.com. Go to connectwithmartin.com. I have these great Warrior to Warrior cards I just came out with, which is a complement to my coaching course. So you can check those things out. Have a great day. Enjoy life. Be high on life. Live incredibly full every day. And Shabbat Shalom.